I'm Tom Shepard. I'm with an organization on the far southeast side of Chicago called the Southeast Environmental Task Force. We're a 25-year-old organization that works on pollution problems, environmental issues out on the southeast side of Chicago, of which we have many. And we're just across the state line from the BP refinery that's in Whiting, Indiana, so our district is just along the Indiana border. And a little while later, you'll hear from our executive director, Peggy Salazar, who will be addressing the issue that has taken a lot of our time over the past couple of years, and that's the pet coke that is a result of the tar sands that are being refined over at the BP refinery, as well as a couple of other refineries in the Chicago region. So I have the honor to be an introducer tonight, or MC, whatever you want to call me. But we have a very stellar group of people who are working on the Stop Enbridge Tar Sands Tour, which is going through at least 14 different stops, 16 different stops, something like that, throughout the Midwest. And it's very ambitious. We're glad to be here at the University of Chicago. I'm particularly happy to be here because we've been working with people on campus here, and we're always trying to make better networking with people on the campus, because we're just a stone's throw from here, actually, where our neighborhood is on the southeast side. And the steel mills and the refineries and everything, they all have a relationship to things on campus here, and a history of the South Side and University of Chicago, although not too many people recognize that. We have, so we're considered kind of, what do they call it, the armpit of Chicago, and a few other even worse things than that out in the neighborhood where I come from. And it's not unlike Detroit. We've got Gary, Indiana, just across the border, and other towns across the country, especially places where now we have mining, or we have oil production and refineries and whatnot. We're all suffering in one way or another, and this is a great opportunity for us to come together and learn from each other and network with one another and take action together. So I hope that that's part of what we're going to be able to accomplish tonight. I think each of you have an agenda on your seat there, or you've looked at it by now, so I'll just kind of go through it. And we're going to be on time tonight. We do have a timer. Here we are, Kendall, the timer. Oh, okay. And during the time you meet, so I got 2 minutes. All right. So 2 minutes to go through our speakers tonight. And we're going to start out with somebody, and make sense where the tar sands begin, up in Alberta, Canada. We have someone who's going to be Skyped in. It's a long way from Alberta, Canada to come in for this, but we're happy that we're going to have, and I'm going to do my best with this. It's Melina Lubacan Massimo, and she's with the, I'll introduce her in a moment. And Andy Pearson, tar sands. He's going to talk about tar sands and climate. This is our friend Andy here. He's also handling our technical duties tonight. Chris Blomhoff and Michelle Smith are with the Michigan Citizens Against Tar Sands. They'll be talking about stories from Kalamazoo, where we had a major spill just a couple of years ago. We're still dealing with the problems that caused. Thomas Frank, who is kind of acting as our host and our organizer here tonight. Also, Thomas lives across the border from us. He's in the East Chicago area. Thomas is also a board member of the Southeast Environmental Task Force, and he's not too far from the BP refinery, and also from Marktown. Now, I'm not going to give up too much about Marktown. You'll hear about Marktown. A unique little place nestled between East Chicago and Gary and Hammond, Indiana. Peggy Salazar. I already Peggy Salazar, we're in for a rough night.
It's getting like an award show.
I mentioned Peggy Salazar, she's our executive director at the Southeast Environmental Task Force. I'm almost saying tar sand. Al Smith, who's our friend here, who's been with the Michigan Citizens Against Tar Sands for many years already. Kenzo Escovel, who I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet. Kenzo is a campus organizer here at the university. Okay. I understand there was an action today, a divestment action. Yay. It's good action to take. And then Kendall Mackey. There's Kendall. Okay. Kendall will talk about taking action. And Kendall, you're from the Energy Action Coalition. I also want to mention real quickly that we have folks here, we're represented by folks from Rising Tide, Sierra Club, Chicago Greens, the MyCats I mentioned already, and the NEIS, that's the nuclear energy folks here in Chicago. Okay, so I don't know exactly how to go into this. Is our first speaker all Skyped up and ready to go, if that's the right term? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So, can she hear me?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. So we're going to hear from Melina Lubacan Massimo, and she is a member of the Lubacan Cree First Nation and a climate and energy campaigner with Greenpeace Canada. Facing firsthand the impacts of the Alberta tar sands in her traditional territory, Lubacan Massimo has been a vocal advocate for Indigenous rights for the past 10 years. She has written numerous articles on the tar sands and produced short documentaries on water issues and Indigenous culture revitalization. So we're going to ask you to take it away and help us out there. And somehow I'll convey a timer to you, Melina.
She's fine.
Oh, I'm told that you can just take it away. You're an important speaker and we're glad to have you here tonight with us. Go ahead.
Konsepnya yang telah merupakan semuanya it's a privilege and honor to be speaking with you today. I'm so happy to see that the tar sands has become such an issue across the states. I remember first reading a number of years back, when I would go to the states, a lot of people wouldn't know what the tar sands was, and they asked me what I worked on, and I said, I work on tar sands, like stopping tar sands in my homeland, and people would be like, you mean tar sand and Jane? They'd actually think it was a movie, the tar sands and Jane movie. And so now it's really good to know that people know what tar sands is and how we transition from conventional sources of fossil fuel to extreme sources of fossil fuel. And I'm going to show a PowerPoint right now, just because I feel like showing pictures is a lot easier than to really give you an understanding of the immensity of the problem that we're dealing with here at the source, and how it really connects to a lot of people in the States and the pipeline infrastructure routes to refineries, to climate change, and to how we're impacted at the source. So I'm just going to flip it over to PowerPoint presentation right now so you can see my screen. So I really like to start with this book because it gives you an idea of the understanding of kind of the researchers even that have done this research for the past 3 decades, like Dr. David Schindler, who says about the tar sands that there's nothing going on on this planet that compares with the destruction going on there. If there were a global price for unsustainable development, the tar sands would be a clear winner. And Dr. David Schindler has done about 30 years of water studies, and he's an ecology professor at the U of A. He's now retiring, but he's done many studies up in the north in our homelands where you can see right now, this is a picture of a mine that we took flying over, and these size of these mines are big as entire city. Dealing with for imperial oil estate, for example, that is currently being built up in the tar sands, it will be the size of England and Wales, the size of Washington, D.C.